ladies and gentlemen, to Kaiju Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 1997. That movie is Rebirth of Mothra 2. Now, a quick recap for those of you who didn't watch my review of the first Rebirth of Mothra. It was okay. It could have been a fuckload better. The writing was incredibly weak. The CG that they insisted on using was complete shit. But the movie wasn't terrible. The movie was at least worth watching once, so at least that wasn't too bad. I have no idea what the plot is of Rebirth of Mothra 2, but I am hoping that the writing and the special effects are at least better than what I saw in the first film. The only thing I know, guys, about the plot is that Mothra's in it. That's literally as far as my knowledge goes. I have no earthly clue if this thing's going to be any good at all. The only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Rebirth of Mothra 2. Okay, guys, I have found something which may very well negatively impact this movie. The children in this movie cannot act. I understand that I am watching the dub and I can't hear them act, but their body language tells me they can't act worth shit. To make matters worse, the people who are voicing them in this dub are also terrible. If this movie focuses on these goddamn kids, this movie is going to suffer because of it, because nobody, not the actors in the film, not the people dubbing them, none of them know how to fucking act, and it's really making this a chore to watch. You guys happen to remember when I said I wanted the special effects in this one to be, better than what was in the first one? Because the CG and the blue screen and the compositing and everything in the first film was so fucking terrible? Well, there's a shitload more of it in this movie, and it's worse than what was in the first movie. My God, I have not seen blue screen done this bad in a professional film in a long fucking time. Top it off, we have writing that is just hideous, a dub that sucks. God damn it, guys, this movie's gonna be a fucking bitch to get through. I never thought I'd be this let down by a fucking Mothra movie in my life, but sure enough, this thing is, oh god, man, this thing here's gonna suck, and it's gonna suck fucking hard. Okay, guys, I have a question. It's a really stupid one, but just bear with me, please. So, this pyramid that everybody's running around in, trying to find this Eli Van Kenai treasure, or whatever the fuck it's called, this pyramid was underwater for like a few thousand years. It has risen to the surface. It has been above water for maybe all of probably about a half an hour. How the hell is everything in this fucking pyramid bone fucking dry? I'm just sort of curious about that, guys. It's really, really kind of bugging me. You would think ancient pyramid, which was under fucking water, would probably still be kind of damp on the inside. Perhaps maybe it's fluorescent fucking lights and its functioning elevators probably, well, the elevators probably wouldn't fucking function. Again, guys, it's something really stupid, it's really trivial, but it's just kind of bugging me a little bit. So this treasure that everybody went into this ancient, formerly underground pyramid to find are 2 orange plastic eggs. I understand that they are supposed to be like gems, like big giant fuck-off gems, but A, they're clearly made of plastic, B, they look like giant eggs. So, this whole time, oh wait, never mind, it's 3 orange plastic eggs, one of them still in its little housing, yay. Good God, even the props in this film are ridiculously cheap, guys. This is fucking pathetic. I really was sort of hoping that we wouldn't have a callback to Gorgo's healing piss, but nope. What do you know, this movie just had to give it to us a second time. God fucking... I'm so happy that this thing is almost over. It is so mind-bogglingly stupid that I feel dumber with every passing minute. God, I just want this thing to end, and I'd love it if it would end right the fuck now. Well, guys, that was Rebirth of Mothra 2. Good lord, and there's a third one. At this point, I don't know if I want to watch... No, shut up. I don't know if I want to watch the third one. Jesus. Because this one was just that fucking bad. Okay, just give me a second, guys. I'm trying to figure out where to start. Alright, writing. I almost always start with writing anyway, but I wanted to figure out what element of writing, which part of the titanic sin that is the writing of this thing, should I tackle first. And I'm going to go for the worst of the bunch, and that is the fact that this movie kind of flies in the face of a general rule for every other kaiju film ever made, especially the ones made by Toho, the company that made this. And that is, no matter what movie, no matter what monster, you have set established powers. Monsters don't normally suddenly sprout new powers as the plot demands, but Mothra here does. Specifically in the final act, when we finally find out exactly what the hidden fucking treasure, was, and Mothra, who's dying on top of the pyramid, is saved. Spoiler alert on that. All of a sudden, Mothra has a whole new slew of powers that essentially make the character about as overpowered as they come. So let me see if I can rattle off the... Mind you, all of these powers I am about to tell you are powers that were not there before, okay? They just all of a sudden came when Mothra is, I guess, saved from all the parasitic starfish that were on its body. So suddenly, Mothra has blast shields, so now any kind of, kaiju blast fucking attack just sort of bounces off like nothing. It's able to shapeshift into a form that lets Mothra glide around in the fucking water. In that form, Mothra is able to fire a crossbeam attack, which seems to do colossal amounts of damage. And unlike the first film, where Mothra could just transform into millions of tiny little CG butterflies, Aqua Mothra, or Mothra in its aqua state, is able to transform into about 100 tiny versions of Aqua Mothra, all of which are able to fire beams and cross beams and all the other happy horse shit, which is how Mothra wins. I'm just going to tell you, flies down the mouth of, what the fuck was the name of the villain in this one? Garla, I think was its name. So it flies down this thing's mouth, transforms into just sort of splits into about 30 versions of Aqua Mothra, and then proceeds to just basically blast the ever-loving fuck out of it from the inside, thus also killing all the parasitic starfish it's been fucking producing. Why don't I touch on Garla, or whatever the fuck that, villain's name was in this? So, similar to the first film, we had to have a save the Earth environmental message. This one was that Garla feeds on all the garbage that we throw into the ocean. It then turns that garbage into parasitic starfish that spray acid in people's faces if they poke it. That actually does happen once, very early in the film. So that's pretty much the only reason why we have this monster, is because we needed a way to say that the oceans have to be saved because humans are filthy and disgusting and they use the ocean like a fucking garbage fucking can. In fact, I believe that actually was a line. As someone's pulling up like a net full of just garbage, they talk about how humans just use the ocean like a huge trash can. It was a very forced line. It really didn't even feel like it naturally belonged in there. But really, that's a problem with just dialogue in fucking general. There is not a single shred of natural sounding dialogue in this entire film. Everything sounds way off, and I think I know why. I don't think this film was dubbed in the US. This thing has the absolute stink of a poorly done, rushed as fuck Hong Kong dub. So much so that the dialogue, while it is written in English, doesn't sound like any natural native English anyone's ever fucking heard. Also, top it off, the acting is fucking dead. The acting is deadpan, wooden, and awful, which is a usual sign of a particularly bad Hong Kong dub. So that I guess covers acting. Why don't we go back to writing for just a minute? Besides the fact that our dialogue has no natural flow in the slightest, our characters have no reason to be there except just to fill space. So we have these three fucking kids. They really don't have a personality. You could literally just call them girl, nerd, and fat, and you've basically covered their entire personality. The girl kind of stumbles on this little fucking furball whose piss is able to heal people. I really wish that wasn't a plot point, but sure enough, in the final act, they use the piss to heal one of the two henchmen because he's all covered in cuts and bleeding and almost fucking dead. So yeah, little furball with healing piss who wants to go to this island because there's a lost city just off of the coast. Oh, sweet Jesus. And, of course, we have the two henchmen who were hired by the evil little fairy midget thing. What the hell was her name again? Belvira. Because she wants to get the treasure that's inside this pyramid. The kids also want to get... No, wait, the kids were just sent there because the little fucking furball wanted to go. And there was something about the treasure would be able to save the Earth from fucking Doug Garla. The whole thing's a fucking mess. And of course because we have Belvira and her robot dragon mount thing, of course we also have to have the other two sisters and their fairy Mothra, which apparently looks like an all-new fairy Mothra. It has a completely different color scheme from the one in the first film, so it just seemed a little bit off, to me. I'm just going to say that. And those three are three small fairies who are all going to fall underneath special effects. Oh, dear God, I've got a lot to say about special effects. But, writing, there are a couple of minor things that I really was wondering about halfway through this movie, and none of it is ever fucking explained. First one is the fact that these three kids have been gone since the previous night, after they stole a fucking rowboat and rowed out to this island before the fucking furball raised up this pyramid. Apparently their parents do not fucking care, because we're never given any hint that the parents are at all worried that their kids have been missing since fucking last night. Moreover, about this fucking pyramid, if you want to know how close this pyramid is to fucking shore, when Mothra decides to part the sea like fucking Moses, everybody's able to run from the pyramid to shore and not be overly winded. So it's not that far out, which makes me think, if a gigantic ancient pyramid were to spring out of the middle of the fucking ocean, wouldn't there be some kind of news, coverage? But you never see any kind of news, fucking choppers or anything like that. Apparently in the world of Rebirth of Mothra 2, ancient pyramids just springing out of the water is just oh ho hum, it's just another fucking Tuesday. It's like there's literally no sign that anybody cares about this, but everybody freaks out when the giant monster Doug Garla decides to go and rip through a fucking city for no other reason than we need a monster ripping up a fucking city. Guys, the writing here is just absolutely horrendous, but I am going to stress this. This movie is most certainly intended for children, and children are not going to give a shit about any of the faults or problems I have just mentioned. All right, the very fact that Mothra gets a shitload of new powers in the final act, kids are gonna fucking love that. The very fact that we have a monster ripping up a fucking city, even though there's no rhyme or reason for it, kids are not going to care. The fact that this pyramid springs up in the middle of fucking nowhere and it's bone fucking dry the moment that it surfaces. Again, kids are not going to care about that. That though is more about sets. I'll touch on sets in a minute, man. I got a lot of shit to say here. Yeah, guys, but ultimately the writing is fucking awful. It is. It was awful to me, but kids are probably going to love this. This thing is tailor-made for children. I'm talking kids like age 7, maybe 8 are going to love this thing. Well, 7 or 8 and younger are going to really adore this thing. If you happen to go older, then they're probably going to start noticing all of the flaws, and it's going to become a little bit of a chore. I know, because it was a fucking chore for me to get through. So yeah, writing is kind of a mess. Acting, well, I've already touched on acting. It's lifeless, it's wooden, it's terrible, but that though is more the dub. I mentioned earlier that our kids, fucking kids, man, and I was so petrified that we were going to be following these 3 talent fucking challenged hacks, and sure as shit we are. It's their body language that tells me that they don't care. Especially the little fucking girl who's constantly spiking the fucking camera, staring at it with the most dead-eyed stare you have ever seen. And every single one of her movements tells you that she's bored as shit and she doesn't want to be there. And the other 2 kids are no fucking better. My God, just all 3 of them look as if they do not want to be there, as if they have no clue what the fuck they are doing. And it's going to pull you right out of the film. At least it pulled me out of the film quite often. So, yeah, acting, at least on the part of the kids, was horrible in both acting and in both body movement and dub. As for everybody else, at least, physically their movements aren't too bad, but that dub is just unforgivably shit. So, holy crap. Alright, sets. I don't normally talk about sets, but goddammit, I'm going to say this. Most of this movie is set inside of an ancient pyramid, which on the outside looks as if it's made out of stone. It apparently has been buried there for thousands upon thousands of years. Why then does every single surface on the inside look as if it's made out of fucking plastic? Moreover, if it has been underwater for that fucking long, I am not going to harp on the fact that everything is bone fucking dry and that they didn't bother to take a garden hose and just spritz a little bit on fucking walls, make everything look kind of damp. But you're telling me that there was no fucking, like, coral, no seaweed, no plankton, no nothing on those fucking walls. It just sat there in the frickin' ocean, and all sea life, all sort of sea, like, plant life, fish, whatever, nothing went near this fucking pyramid I call bullshit. These guys are little fucking details which they could have put in, and it could have vastly improved this film, and they didn't fucking bother, and it just irritated me immensely. I just wanted to get that out of the way. And of course with that we also have props. I talked about the 3 giant orange gems, which just look like giant orange plastic eggs. In fact, on the one that you see the most, there actually is a noticeable molding line around the middle of fucking, plastic egg. So yeah, it just looked cheap as fuck from start to finish. Special effects. Our kaiju, when it's just Mothra and Dagarla, looks fine. Alright, it is your typical Toho kaiju stuff. It works, it's fine, it functions, it's good. Unfortunately, that is as far as the CG goes in terms of being good. It all stops being good there. Everything from that point onward is pig shit. So why don't we try to touch on some of this? So because we have Belvira and we have the fucking Elias sisters on their fucking mounts, most of that is done in CG, and similar to the first film, the CG looks abhorrently terrible. When Aqua Mothra swims down fucking Dargala's throat, or Dagarla, whatever the fuck that goddamn thing's name is, and it splits into all the smaller Aqua Mothras, and they start shooting at all the starfish that are inside of this thing's guts. All of that is rendered in CG, and it's all rendered badly. Incredibly. Just for fuck's sake, guys. This movie came out in 1997, and all of that looked like CG that would have been fit for 1987. So let's just let's just state that, and let's just try to move on. There's tons of bullshit CG, and of course, once more, Belvira and the sisters, when they aren't modeled in CG, and it's actually the actors on little miniature kaiju mounts, that means then they have to be blue screened in, or they have to be fucking composited in, and it looks like shit. Especially when they have to fly and they're like taking really sharp banks and everything. It doesn't look realistic. Once more, kids are not going to give a fuck about any of these problems I'm stating, and this movie is certainly intended for kids. So I honestly am just saying that you're probably going to notice this if you are beyond a certain age, and it's going to make this movie a pain in the ass to watch. Ultimately, Jesus Christ, that is loud down there. I believe someone's like vacuuming downstairs. Just don't worry about that. I can tell the mic's picking up that. I don't know how I can tell. It's just call it a hunch. Anyway, Jesus Christ, is there anything else I can talk about with special effects? No, not really. Lighting I think is a problem when it comes to these special effects, because you see, you'll have characters blue screened into shots, and they do it and they do it on shots that normally wouldn't even need to be blue screened in, but they do it anyway. Like when people are running through the fucking woods, you can see that the woods that they were shot with a blue screen in order to put the woods in later. The problem is that shade is the problem is that the light is hitting the trees at one angle, it's hitting the actor at a totally different angle, and it doesn't look right. Again, this is trivial, stupid shit that very few people are going to really notice, but if you notice it, stands out like a sore thumb. And it's not just the shot with them running through the woods. It's every one of these blue screen shots. They could not get the angle of the lighting right for a single one. So if somebody is running through a temple or a pyramid hallway, and you can see that light is hitting these pillars a certain way, I guarantee you the lighting is going to hit the actors in the opposite fucking direction, and it's going to look like shit. It's going to look awful, and it's going to irritate the shit out of you if you fucking notice it. So guys, special effects here. When it's your normal kaiju shit, it's fine. When it's everything else, it shits the bed in ways I didn't even think were fucking possible. Especially from a Toho film in 1997. I had higher expectations than this. Jesus H. Alright, so beyond that, our sound mix is fine. Our sound effects are fine. Our music is decent, at least I can say that. Ultimately, guys, I'm able to recommend Rebirth of Mothra 2. If you have kids, fuck yes. If you have kids, and again, if they're around like 7 or 8 or younger, and you want to introduce them to kaiju films, and you don't want to start them on something darker like, say, Godzilla 54 or GMK or, any of the other exceptionally good ones, then by all means, you can start them off with this, and if they really like this, then slowly build them into the better films. However, if you're not 8 years old and you're just looking for a fun kaiju flick to watch, this is not going to give you much. This movie is a poorly written, poorly shot mess that just does not function. I did not like this thing in the slightest, guys. It was such a slogging, horrendous chore to get through, and I know I've got the third one sitting here. I don't know if I actually want to watch it now or not, because these first two have been such a fucking letdown. I am almost afraid to see how bad the third one is. But hey, I don't have to worry about that right now. I've got 2 more episodes to film before I get to that point. And if I don't cover this one, there's still plenty of other kaiju flicks I can totally check out at some point. Now, Rebirth of Mothra and Rebirth of Mothra 2 came in off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in was Dennis, and once more, as I stated with the first one, I would love to give Dennis's website a shout out, but the website is no longer there. Dennis messaged me and actually said that the reason why the site was down was because it was hacked. Or there was something, honestly, about a fucking hacker. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. Dennis really didn't give me any other backup thing to shout out. So, anyway, Dennis, still, dude, I thank you. Now, you sent them both in. Now, you sent them in on DVD, and between the time that you bought them on DVD and today, I bought the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy on Blu-ray, specifically because I thought, it's Toho, it's Mothra, it almost has to be good. Oh, how wrong I was! But if I hadn't have bought this, I would have bought the DVD you sent. I'm trying to remember where the hell I set that thing. I know for a fact I kept it over here somewhere. Don't worry about that. Anyway, dude, I still wouldn't even have thought about covering these if you hadn't sent in those first 2. And for that, I thank you. You are fucking amazing. Now, Jesus Christ, you know what? I mentioned Godzilla 54. And I mentioned GMK. Those are 2 of the best kaiju flicks I've ever seen that are not Destroy All Monsters and Godzilla Final Wars. I'm gonna go watch Godzilla 54. I'm gonna go watch GM fucking K. I might even watch Godzilla vs. Gigan or something else. I need to just watch more Godzilla. I need something good to remind me of when Toho knew what the fuck they were doing, and they weren't pandering to 6-year-olds. Holy shit. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this installment of Reaction and Review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.